welcome back to our channel. For today's video, I will be showing you guys the easiest way to create haze and fog realistically on your images. And I have my pen ready for this. Let's go. I've got a few comments on my YouTube channel and private messages on Instagram asking me how I do my haze or fog on my images. So I've been planning to do this video for a long time now, but I have been really busy, so today I've decided to stay home and do this editing video because I think it's been long overdue. My past few videos I have just been going out and shooting, and today I'm gonna just relax and do this for you guys. First of all, I am an Affinity user, and the things I'm gonna be teaching for today's video is going to be applicable for Photoshop users as well. So there are 4 ways that I do this editing. Let's go ahead and do the first one. The first way that I do this is, I think, the easiest one and straightforward, and this is the one that I usually use whenever I add fog on my images. So it's just the paintbrush tool. So this is the image that I'm gonna be using for today. It's fully edited now, so I don't need to do anything else but the fog. So first, all you need to do is add a new layer and click the brush in white paint, and let's do this at 50%. I'm gonna paint across and I'm zooming out. The reason why I'm zooming out is that it's easier for me to paint across rather than zoom it in, and then, I mean, for me that's the easiest, but it depends on you. This is just my preference, really. I'm gonna resize the brush to how I want it and just paint across the entire image. And if I want to create depth, all I have to do is change the opacity to maybe 20% and just do a smaller brush and just do at the bottom right there, as you can see. You can also adjust this the way you want. And the next one is make a layer mask, and on the layer mask, this is where you can adjust its opacity, really. There we go. It's pretty straightforward. I'm not gonna do the removing the fog on your subject just yet. As I've said, I'm gonna do that at the very end. So I'm gonna go through this very quickly. The next tool I'm gonna be using is called levels. So when you click levels, it will show you this window right here, and all you need to worry about is the output black level and the output white level. It basically mats your image, so there's no correct percentage. It all depends on how you want your image to look like. So I think I'm fine with this, and since this layer is already a mask layer, I don't need to make a layer mask. I can just do an inversion. So I'm just gonna do a Control-I and click my brush tool in white color and basically paint it on areas where I want it to be. The next one is called curves. Now there are a lot of things you can do in curves. Sometimes I use curves to do color grading, but this time I'm gonna use it to do a fog or haze on the image. So you just have to play with this tool right here and see how it will look on your image. Just go around just like that. There is no correct number, as I've said. It all depends on your image. So I think I'm pretty satisfied with this one. I'm gonna close that, and since this is also a layer mask, I can invert it, which is Control-I, and do again paintbrush and paint the areas where I want the fog to be, and you can adjust the opacity in this one as you like. Depends on you. You can also do a layering on it if you want a little more depth. Like I said on the first one, just do a brush at 20% and paint at the bottom. So the last one is called assets in Affinity Photo. So if you are using Photoshop, this is going to be like a brush tool or an overlay. So let me show you how it's done in Affinity Photo because I'm an Affinity user. If you go to Studio and open assets, it'll show you this one. You see there's a lot of options here that you can use on your picture. It is like an overlay, so I think I'm gonna choose this particular one right here. I think it looks pretty nice. And yeah, it really looks like a proper fog. And adjust that to the size that you want. And since this is a PNG layer, you have to make a layer mask and do an inversion, Control I, and again brush it on areas where you want it to be. So how did I get these assets in Affinity Photo? So it's very simple. All you need to do is log into your account and go on downloads and product keys, find it there, and you can see here all the things that you purchased, and at the bottom you'll find the fog overlay right there. I found it. All you need to do is download that and add that to your assets. So how to do that is open your Affinity Photo application and click this button right here. Just click import assets and go to the folder where you downloaded that file. So let's now go ahead to the very last part of the video, which is removing the fog on your subject seamlessly as possible, because you don't want them to be covered in fog unless that's what you want to do. But on my particular image, I don't want that. That looks weird. So for this example, I'm gonna use the first one that I did, which is the brush tool, and I'm gonna do the same exact one that I did, which is brushing across the image and doing so. I'm gonna fast forward it to make it quick. After you've done that, you have to make a layer mask, and I'm going to adjust its opacity to how I want it. I think I'm happy with that. Now click on the original photo at the bottom and press selection brush tool, and then start selecting your subject. I used to do this before with just brush like in black color, and that takes so much time and it's not very accurate, and it's just basically just a waste of time to do that. With this one, it's very quick, especially when you have a subject with this kind of hair, because that's really difficult to remove the fog in hair strands. After that, you click refine and start selecting on the edge, because those parts that were not selected on the first thing that we did, it will now select it automatically. Sometimes the selection tool is not perfect, so you'll just need to manually fix those parts that were not selected. It's very easy to do. After you've done the selection, you have to press delete, and there we go. You see that even the hair strand is perfectly separated from our fog, and this part right here is actually not selected very well, so I'm going to manually brush back the fog. So that's it. As you can see, it is very easy and quick to do. I'm not sure about the quick one, but yes, it is very easy to create your own fog and haze realistically on your images. The reason why I do this on my editing is that it adds more depth on your photo and creates more dreamlike. So I noticed that this trick works best when you are taking a photograph using a lens with a shallow depth of field. So the particular photo that I use is I shot with Samyang 85mm f1.4. So if you don't have a short telephoto lens, is that make sure you carefully select where you place your subject, because then it will work well with a fog. So for example, not putting your subject next to a wall or a building that is pretty much close to her. What I normally do is that place my subject in an area where there's a long how do you call that, like a hollow, oh my god, it's so hard to explain it, Okay, so I'm really terrible with explaining, so I'm gonna do this to you visually. So what I do is that place my subject. For example, this is my subject. My husband's asthma disease. So for example, this is my subject, right? So you don't wanna put your subject like next to a tree right here, because then you won't have a lot of depth of field in that. You would have a lot of bokeh. So I would say that you would place them where the things in the background are quite far away from them. So that plays a lot in depth of field. I've explained this one on my video on how to shoot on your local pork using Samyang 135mm f1.8. I'm gonna link that video in the description box, but I hope you did understand what I just said. I mean, weird, right? I mean, I learn visually, that's just how I do it. So that's it for today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you got questions that you didn't understand with what I just did, please leave them on the comments below and I'll try to answer it. If you still haven't, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you guys on our next video. Goodbye!